Hello everyone, my name is Femi and today you're back again with us on the More You Look podcast, and today we have a very special guest. We've got a founder of a charity organization called Unsickle My Cell. You can find them on Instagram and on Facebook. Her name is Chanel. Welcome to the podcast, Chanel.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Not too bad, thank you.
Not too bad. Basically, we won't be wasting any time. I want us to discuss everything sickle cell, just to get more awareness out there, especially to the Black community. And the first question I'm going to ask you: what motivated you guys to create this organization?
How it came to, how we started this was because I actually suffer from sickle cell myself, and growing up and not having or seeing many platforms out there that supported sickle cell, I wanted to create my own platform also. And obviously I had my cousin always supporting me, and it just made sense for my cousin to be co-founder, because not only has he supported me and seen me what I've gone through, him being a businessman also as well, he also donates blood. And he has the RO subtype blood also, which we will go into later also as well. But creating Unsickle My Cell for me, I done it because I also wanted to connect with other warriors. I wanted to also connect with people who went through the same conditions as me, who were, felt lonely, because I did feel lonely. I felt like an outcast. I didn't feel like I could reach out to other platforms. But then at the time, my cousin introduced me to someone called Sickle, who you know of also as well. And I was following him for a while. And I liked what he was doing as a male warrior. I liked what he was representing, for the sickle cell community. And I said, I wanted to do this also as well. I wanted to, build a platform for myself, but also for others, and to connect with other people also. So it started in 2017, where it's just been sickle cell awareness and just bridging the gap and just having those sickle cell conversations. But I was officially registered as a CIC this year, so that's how sickle cell, Unsickle Myself came about.
Yeah. I understand you also do a bit of charity work in West Africa, in Ghana.
Yes.
Okay, what's that about?
So 2019, I visited Ghana, and we went on a family holiday, family trip, and it's always been my dream to help sickle cell warriors over in Ghana. I know that with having sickle cell is a big stigma. Having sickle cell, especially in being in Ghana also as well, just being African, there's a huge stereotype, huge stigma around. I know that the healthcare over there is much different over here also as well. So what can I do as a person? So what I do is I go to the hospitals in Kolobu Hospital and Nagochi Hospital, and what I do is give out donations, pay for medications with some two children that I actually sponsor every year, and that's just something that I do.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Let's track back just a little bit, because I know this is hard to believe, but there are people out there who actually even today do not know what sickle cell is. So in your own words, coming directly from you, what exactly is sickle cell disease?
Sickle cell is a blood disorder which is predominantly affected by African Caribbean communities like myself, especially from African and Caribbean ethnicities. Now what that does, our red blood cells are compromised and they're shaped like a C shape. And what happens is your blood cells are different to mine, meaning your blood cells last 120 days, mine last up to 20 days. Wow. So when our blood cells travel through our body, what happens is they get trapped in the vessels, not allowing enough oxygen to maneuver around the body. You need oxygen, right?
Yes.
If you don't have oxygen, you cannot breathe. So what happens is when the oxygen is trapped in your blood vessels, it basically restricts any oxygen to those vital organs, causing life complicating, situations. So basically, oxygen can be trapped in your lungs, your liver, your joints, causing painful episodes. A crisis can happen where there's lack of oxygen. So if there's lack of oxygen in my eyes, in my joints, in my stomach. That's where I'm going to feel the most pain. So, for instance, I'm going through retinopathy right now, which is a vision loss impairment in my left eye. So at the minute, I'm seeing black floaters, which is the blood flowing at the back of my eye. And that's because there's lack of oxygen. So what people need to understand, the lack of oxygen that we have in our bodies will cause, a crisis, which can be acute, or it could be long-term also, or chronic, which is long-term also as well. So having a crisis can be painful. You can be in hospital up to, any time up to 2 weeks, up to a few months. So the pain that we endure is painful, and every person that has sickle cell will tell you their pain is different. Even though we are diagnosed with this condition, every person that you speak to will tell you that their pain is different, their triggers are different, everyone's triggers is different. So, sickle cell is a restriction of the oxygen because of our red blood cells are shaped differently.
I was actually going to, follow up that question by asking what a crisis is, but you sort of answered that question. But let me ask, following a crisis, when you go to the hospital, do you feel that, sickle cell, warriors, do you feel that they are taken seriously enough?
We're not. We're not taken seriously enough because I feel like there's lack of education. There's lack of education and lack of understanding. We're not taken seriously enough because everyone that suffers from pain will tell you that their pain is different. You can suffer in pain silently, or you can be quite vocal with your pain. And who are you to judge the person that is in pain to say, well, because you're not screaming enough, I don't think that you're in pain, or because you're really, really quiet, are you sure this pain is, as painful as you say it is? So, I've had a few experiences where I've gone to hospital and they just don't understand what sickle cell is. They don't even have my protocol. Everyone that has sickle cell has a protocol that should be followed, and your protocol is the medication that you're on, your genotype, what type of variation of sickle cell that you have, and just to also monitor what pain relief you should be given at the time. When you even ask for that when you're at A&E, you are faced with questions like, what is sickle cell, where are your notes? We don't have your notes, and you're having to educate
all over again, every time.
And you shouldn't have to educate because you're in pain. We are in pain. So the system is really different. And, that's why I have my own platform, so that we can, be vocal enough and challenge the healthcare professionals, so that we say, right, we want a sickle cell passport. Because when I go into hospital, I want to have some form of ID so that whoever is looking after me knows how to deal with me, knows how to care for me.
Like palliative patients, because palliative patients, when they talk about A&E, they have this red card where once you present it, whoever is behind the desk should know that this person is palliative. But I'll tell you what, there have been instances where people show the red card and people still don't understand what it means.
So I create
it. So I can imagine, having a sickle cell card, but that would be an amazing first step in, understanding that whoever is in front of me, even though they are not holding their belly in pain after, a boozy night out, they are still standing still, trying to explain to me what's going on. But inside, there is a lot going on there. When you produce that card, they should know. But this is something that you would expect by now, the government should, have thought of. Why do you think that there's been a bit of foot dragging when it comes to sickle cell awareness and, sickle cell warriors, basically?
There's a lot of foot dragging because I just don't think they care enough, because it does predominantly affect the black community. The sickle cell community they're facing right now is they have to pay for their, medical exemption cards. I'm exempt, but sickle cell patients who have long-term health conditions that need pain relief, that long-term, lifetime condition, you're going to need regular medication. And all now we're still fighting for the government to, to give us the same experiences and the same, leverage that other conditions do have, and we don't. We've been petitioning for so long, and it just goes unnoticed. So I just feel like with the Black Lives Matter movement, and we see how many people marching and things, these are the type of people that we need marching and amplifying their voices within the sickle cell community.
If there is a proper protests, about this, the government will be forced to do something. Please tell me that sickle cell warriors are enabled to get disability allowances, because I want to know. No, please tell me. No, I'm serious.
How long have we got?
No, for real.
There's some people that I know right now that are struggling to get PIP, struggling to get support because they've been turned down so many times. There's people out there that are quite vocal and know what they want, and they don't give up. But the ratio differs. The thing is with the government and sickle cell and how it works is the person that actually does the form isn't someone that's a healthcare professional. Yeah. Isn't someone that works within the community, do you understand? So they're employing people that have no connection and let's just say no awareness, emotional intelligence. So they're just doing the tick boxing. So that's going to make someone defeated. That's going to make any warrior defeated. I've been in that position a few times, and I'm still trying to fight. So it's difficult for us sickle cell warriors to get the support that we need. But one thing that I will say is, do not give up. As much as it's tiring, deliberating, you're frustrated, you think, how many times am I going to be turned down? And mentally, it takes, a mental toll on you. So you want to give up, but at the same time, you have a condition that you didn't ask for, that's complex. And it also, you cannot determine how you're going to wake up. You cannot determine what your next move is going to be. So a little support would be, nice to have had. So I would say people within the sickle cell community, they need to speak up.
Do you know, I'm dumbfounded. This is shocking to me because I know that for people who are like autistic, all you have to do is present enough proof that you are autistic and you're eligible for disability benefits. And I'm thinking, what other proof does a sickle cell sufferer have to show to anyone for them to see? Obviously you have a long health history of how it shouldn't. It's shocking to me that you're not automatically eligible for disability benefits and all. But like you said, it could be because it's sort of streamlined to the Black and Caribbean communities, which leads me to my next question, which is, what toll has being a sickle cell warrior over time, over the course of your life to this point, what toll has it had on you mentally, on your mental health?
Sickle cell definitely has its challenges with mental health, and I think sometimes we forget as warriors that as much as we're going through pain and the physical challenges that we have with sickle cell, it's apparent. Over time, you don't think about it playing up on your mind, and you don't think about the anxiety and the PTSD attached to sickle cell until you're at rock bottom, until you're faced with a challenge also as well. It took, certain challenges for me to understand that I'm actually going through mental health challenges with sickle cell, because at one point growing up, I was really active. Like, I was an active child, when it came to going out with my friends, being social, but at the same time, growing up, I kind of, shunned sickle cell aside. I kind of was embarrassed because I wanted to kind of keep up with my friends and things like that. But then over time, going into hospital and hiding that I was going to hospital as well, it takes a mental toll on you, because you can't be cool at the same time, but then also be vulnerable in front of your friends, because at the time my friends, they knew what sickle cell was, but they didn't understand how it impacted me. So when we was going out, I know that they would feel embarrassed because I'll be out there doing the most when it came to Garage Nation and going out, and then 2 seconds later I'm in the corner bending down, holding my stomach, I've got a cramp, and they're just looking at me like, get up, like what you doing, kind of thing. And then at the same time I'm like, I'm trying to, you know, still look cool, I'm still trying to keep it going, but at the same time I knew sickle cell was, you know, it was holding me back. So it takes a toll on your mental health when you think about the people around you that know that you have a condition but have never really asked you, how can I help you? Or how does this really impact you? So over time, it's really impacted, you know, mental health has come into play when it comes to friendships, when it comes to even work as well, and employment, and just having those solidified friendships also as well. So also being a single parent, that can also be really, really lonely and deliberating, and it takes time on your mental health also as well. But there are support systems out there that, you know, that have support out there for people that have sickle cell and mental health as well. But the thing is, it's not always accessible. Everyone needs therapy, and with sickle cell being a long-term health condition, you need support out there, and you need someone to talk to, just so that you can comprehend what's going through your mind physically and mentally. Because there's days I don't want to get up. There's days where I'm just so anxious about my sickle cell because I know that I can't wear heels like I used to. So it's like mentally you're thinking about your clothes, your attire, what I used to wear back then, I don't wear now. So everything takes its toll on you. So it can be a lonely place, but speaking to someone and finding out your triggers and noticing from the get-go are things that I would say that we should all look out for as well.
Wow, that is, because as you're saying it, I'm trying to sort of relate to what you're saying, but I can't, because I do not, you know, I'm not a sickle cell warrior like yourself. And I was going to ask you that, is there any positives at all from, you know, having sickle cell? Have you sort of sat down one day and thought of it and thought, at least the positives and the negative, what are the positives? Is there any?
The positives are, I'm here today. I'm here to tell the tale. And the positives, I feel, for me are, I have sickle cell for a reason. And whatever I'm doing, it's driven by purpose. So I have to thank sickle cell. There's times where, I guess if I didn't have sickle cell, I wouldn't listen to my body. I wouldn't listen to certain things. So if I didn't have sickle cell, I feel like I'll be reckless right now. I'll be doing the most. But then at the same time, I think that it humbles me to understand that I've got, you know, this, I've got this condition that I have to have a connection with. The connection is the friendship. So I thank sickle cell because I feel like we have a friendship, because it's allowed me to know my body and know who I am also as well. But at the same time, it's also given me this platform where I'm also able to make solid friendships, but also help my community, but also speak to other people that are in the same situation as me, without feeling judged, without feeling, you know, not less confident, without feeling, oh, is this person going to judge me because they're going through the same thing? It's nice to reach out to someone, but I'm here, and it's allowed me to have certain milestones as well. So I would say those are the positives of sickle cell.
How do you deal with the negatives? Like, what are some examples of negatives? I know you spoke of not getting enough attention with, you know, basically the hospitals, and, you know, people not really understanding or even caring to seek knowledge, more knowledge. And I just feel, what are some of the negatives that you encounter in your day-to-day, you know, life, and how do you deal with them?
Sickle cell is an invisible disability. When you look at me, you can't see that I've got, you know, a condition that is complex, and the things that I deal with, it's frustrating. It's so frustrating because I can give you a long list, and it could be little things like, so for instance, remember I said I can't see out of my left eye, so that's caused me to stop driving. So because I'm not driving at the minute, it's really getting me, you know, down. But then what I've also encountered is I've got to take either the taxi or a train, depending where I'm going. And a recent a recent encounter, actually, experience was when I got on the bus. I picked up my daughter from summer camp, and I got on the bus, and we wanted to go to the high street because she wanted to go and buy some stuff. I was like, oh, the tab's taking long, so let's just jump on the bus quickly. Jumped on the bus quickly, and a lady, literally, she was in her wheelchair, and she was with her husband, and I was exempt also as well. She basically looked at me and said, why are you on the bus for? Where's your mask? You shouldn't be standing on the bus. So I've looked around, and there's room, but not room for everyone to sit down. But then, with the social distancing measures in place, no one's sitting 2 meters away. So I'm just making sure that, Anyway, she's basically said, she's been really rude to me. She's been rude to me and said to me, she called me a female dog in front of my child, and basically said, well, you shouldn't be on the bus because this condition affects people of your colour and not mine. And me having sickle cell, me having my child, and me even saying to her, I have sickle cell, I'm exempt, and the nicest way possible, me trying to express myself, she didn't want to hear that. No one stuck up for me on the bus. I ended up having a panic attack, and it just reminds me of these are just one of the many things that I encounter having sickle cell, being a sickle cell warrior, but it also being really invisible. So even me having a seat in a disabled area of a train or a bus, people will look at me, and because of how I'm dressed,
her legs are. She's got 2 legs, 2 hands.
She's got the gold tooth. She looks like some gangster.
She's just trying to be defiant.
Exactly, and there's times where I've even worn the badge. It says offer me a seat. People have blatantly looked at me and not offered me a seat because, again, of the way that I look. So I feel like having sickle cell, and especially because of my eye, the stuff that I've encountered this year, half the things I don't think I would have encountered because I would be driving. So I feel like, some people are quite lucky that they've seen me out on public transport because this will not be a normal day. But those are the negatives that I deal with, it being so invisible, but then people also saying that you handle things so well, you're so strong, keep going. And sometimes you just don't want to hear that you're strong. Sometimes you just want people to help. Sometimes you just want people to reach out and say, do you know what, I've got this, I got you. And it's not many people I can say that has my back like that, but those are the negative things that I deal with on a daily basis, and now I have panic attacks from it. So even I had to get my MP involved, and I wrote to my MP, and I'm still waiting, for a response. But these are the things that I feel like I would respond, or I would email my MP, and I wouldn't say nothing about it. It's just like the PIP. You just feel like, what's the point? But I'm like, no, this is the time to be vocal now, and I'm going to keep emailing you until I get a response, because I'm not able to keep having to argue or act a certain way in front of my 10-year-old, because I'm supposed to be a role model to my child. So when someone can see that a child is there and I'm saying to you I have a condition that's invisible, it just goes to show that this society is warped. So I've got my work cut out for me. The whole sickle cell community has its work cut out. But these experiences, I wouldn't wish it on anybody else, but I believe that these experiences happen to me so that I can be vocal and make change.
What do you think can be done to ensure a better quality of life for yourself and others that suffer from sickle cell?
Guys, blood donation.
Let's exclude the government for a second. What do you think people like me and people that are watching at home can do to sort of ensure, creating safe spaces and all that stuff? But what do you think they can do to ensure a better quality of life for you?
Definitely having platforms like yourself is amazing, and I think we need to celebrate and champion those within the community who I believe are our celebrities, our role models, who we can connect with and speak to, so that we can have open, transparent conversations about the question you just asked. With sickle cell, there's, not the only treatment, but the sickle cell requires, treatment of patients that require regular blood transfusions. So regular blood transfusions is treatment that is, that is needed. I have regular blood transfusions every 5 weeks, which is 7 units, which is 7 people. So it's important for me to raise the awareness and speak on this, because I feel like there's not enough awareness when it comes to blood donations. Now, 2017, there was a blood donation campaign. That's why I got involved with the NHS. But when it came to how many people were needed from the black community, automatically I was like, I need to be involved. At the time, I didn't need regular blood transfusions. However, just because I didn't need it, it didn't mean that I couldn't campaign for those that needed it within my community. So at the minute, it's regular blood transfusions because exchanges are needed, and the supply and the demand, it just doesn't match at the minute. And in order for me to live the best quality of life, for me to be a role model to my child, for me to, just live a better life, I need regular blood transfusions from people that look like me and you.
So what happens, just to be clear, for the sake of clarity for those watching, what happens if you need a blood transfusion and you don't get it?
If I don't get the right matched blood, they will give me the universal blood. And that when I say the universal blood, they will give me, the Caucasian man's blood. However, that's not going to sustain me. And I remember someone, had an idea, and the way he put it was, do you drive?
Yes.
What's your car? Petrol, diesel?
Petrol.
What would happen if if you put diesel in your car?
Yeah, it would sort of. That's the engine. Yeah.
There you go. So that's kind of like the science behind it when it comes to the ethnically matched blood. I need blood ethnically matched from, someone that looks exactly like me and you. So black to black, African to African, Caribbean to Caribbean. I need that blood from my matched people, from my community. So
would you say there's been enough, black people sort of responding to giving blood?
Currently, 1% of the African Caribbean community donate blood. 1%. 1%.
You guys, have you given blood before?
That was going to be my next question.
Don't edit
don't edit out. Have you given blood before?
Have you given blood before? I'm asking my partner now, Sky. Have you given blood before?
Let me sip my tea.
Have you given blood before?
Not at all.
Not at all. I won't ask Will because he already knows the importance and the relevance. I won't ask Will.
Will, have you given blood? See, he gives blood. He gives blood. My cousin gives blood, guys, and he's got the RO subtype, just to let you know.
I'm shocked. 1%.
1%.
I thought you were going to say something like in the range of 50% or so. 1%.
So it's my mission to get black people donating.
So would you say this is down to lack of enough awareness regarding, blood donation, or what exactly would you say is the cause of this?
I think there's contributing factors. I think it's lack of awareness, but I also think that we also need to demystify the myths and the bus that go with blood donation, because a lot of people, especially in the African community, they do not donate blood. I will send you a video.
I'm sorry. I'm sure he thinks if I give a unit of my blood,
you're helping me. You're helping someone like me.
How will I get it back?
You get it replenished.
Or
no.
I'll be weak.
You're not. I
It's that mentality surrounding it which we need to
demystify. We need to eradicate, but then it's also having these open, honest conversations as well. But I also think I'd done a webinar yesterday, and I was talking to the lady that invited me to the webinar, and I was saying I would love to have different languages about blood donation to reach our older, our uncles, our aunties and our grandparents, because if we have different languages in a way that we could translate blood donation, maybe the message would get to them also as well. But we need to demystify and have the conversations, because it's 1%, so we need to do better as a community. If we can talk about sending WhatsApps and everything every minute, because that's what our African families like to do. Let's send information regarding blood donation.
4 to 10 people, or you will die.
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
No, that's what Africans do. No,
But yeah, that's true,
what
that's
Africans,
true,
that's
that's
all I get all the time.
Yeah.
You know, when will I kill David? 4 to 10 people, or you will not encounter success.
That's
Even on
true.
Facebook, they say type amen under this status,
Yeah.
and you will get money this week.
Type blood donation and save your own.
Yeah, it's quite clear that we do need to, donate. And guys, will you be donating blood? What is the process? Because so many people don't even know. What do I have to do if I wanted to, give some blood?
As long as you're between the ages of 17 and 65, you are eligible and healthy enough to donate blood also as well. You've not gone to any malarial country within the last 4 months. The process is quite easy. You can register at giveblood.co.uk. You register, then you'll be generated a blood donor ID number. Once you get that donor ID number, you then put in your nearest postcode or the nearest location you'd want to go to donate blood, and it gives you a list of centres, blood donating centres. You book your appointment. Once you've booked your appointment, you'll be given a phone call to be triaged, because with COVID in place, they're doing their COVID safety guidances as well. So they've got a lot of contingency plans in place to make sure and to ensure that blood donation is healthy. And when you get there, it's the same thing. You'll be triaged, but from beginning to end, you'll probably spend an hour, literally an hour. The last time my cousin came and donated, it took 6 minutes and 29 seconds.
Wow. That's
the record. So when you're in the donating chair, it can take anything from 3-4 minutes up to 15 minutes. But when you're there, sorry, I went a few steps ahead because I was boasting about his blood donation time. But when you get there, you fill out your DHC form, and that's like the health and questions forms. Once you fill out the form, you then go and see the nurse. The nurse calls you in, and you take your HP and iron test, and that determines whether your iron is low or high. If it's okay, stable, you move on. You get into the donating chair, and you're ready to donate. After you finish your donation, you are met with tea and biscuits and literally a sticker to say you are a blood donor and you are a hero. So
I'm asking for the producer behind the camera, because he's looking at me and I can read those questions in his eyes right now. So here's the thing. Do they need to know your blood type, or you just walk in and say, I want to give blood, here I am?
No.
What if you don't know your own blood type? Because many people don't.
So just before COVID, we was going out doing events where we was doing the finger prick test to find out your blood type. Next time I might do it. Who knows? I might bring my stuff here. But when you donate, you will be given your blood type. So once after your first donation, you'll be sent your cards and what blood type you are also as well. So they usually will let you know. But it's never a good thing just to walk in. Again, because of COVID, I always say book your appointment also as well, because you just don't want to, have a cold or a flu. You just want to make sure that you're eligible and you're healthy enough to donate as well.
So it is quite clear. I would, if you can do me a favor, for those of us, for those watching at home, can you just repeat that website again for giving blood?
Yep, it's giveblood.co.uk.
So when you sign up on there, everything else will follow step by step. Next question I would like to ask you is, say I'm a guy. I was going to say if I was a woman, or if I wanted to go into a relationship with someone, and I plan on having a very serious relationship that would lead to having kids and stuff like that, what are the things I need to look out for as somebody who already lives with sickle cell?
Definitely genotype screening, and that's something that we all should be doing as a black community anyways, because sickle cell is the fastest UK growing genetic disorder. It's really important that we get screened. So someone with sickle cell, I would say definitely before you get into any sort of relationship, definitely ask if what their blood type is, or what their genotype is. If they don't know that, then the next step is to book an appointment with your doctor at the clinic or with your sickle cell community nurse and get that testing done. Always screen and do your genotype testing first, and then you can determine if you have the trait or the disease. You then know what course of your relationship will take place.
All right. What kinds of medical sort of research or advancement would you like to see, say, in the next 2 to 5 years, that could ensure a much, much better quality of life for people that live with sickle cell?
There's so many researches going on right now.
Yeah, presently, yeah.
So many. I can't pinpoint or finger one, but I just feel like there's so many cures out there, and so many people say that they've been cured.
Yeah,
and
I've read of a couple, but
and I feel like when that's out in the papers, or when that information is out there that this person's been cured and by this particular research, I just want to, for me, I don't want to hear about that cure until it's been a good 5 years, so that I know that it actually works, you know. So for me to say what cure I really cannot pinpoint right now, because there's so many out there as well, and there isn't so many accessible to us, especially with the stem cell, you know, transplants, which is only, you know, compatible if you know, dependent on compatible donors. But again, that's only given to you or offered to you if you are a child, and if you are an adult and you want it, you have to go to Canada or America to get that treatment also as well.
Basically, you have to be rich.
Basically, you know. So I mean, all I can say, all I want to know, all I could say is for people to just continue to give blood, because healthy blood, ethnically matched blood, is the way forward at the minute. And if I feel like there's a research in place that I feel like, okay, that sounds good, I might pay a bit more attention to it. But there's so many going on right there that I can't pinpoint and be like, yeah, let me pay attention to this.
I'm not gonna lie, I've learned, I'm sure you guys have learned one or two things from, look at them. They're already doing research on what to do.
Are you signing up?
Yeah,
blood.co.uk. Okay, if you need help, let me know.
Give blood, if you have any questions. So, my next question is about your charity organization.
Yeah.
Can you tell us just a little bit about the Unsickle My Cell? Is that
Unsickle My Cell.
Unsickle My, that's a lovely name though.
Thank you.
Yeah, what exactly do you guys do in the UK here? And say if I wanted to be a member, you know, what would I be looking forward to?
So we are actually in the middle of rebranding, and we've got some stuff in the works.
Please don't change that name.
No, it's not going to change, because Unsickle My Cells, basically that's how I feel, and you know, that's the reason why Unsickle My Cells is called Unsickle My Cells, because how many other warriors feel the way that they feel with their cells? Just unsickle my cells every day. That's me. But the platform is, you know, to create and to connect warriors and have sickle cell conversations, and also inviting people on the live just to speak about their experiences also as well, and also encouraging and campaigning for blood donors. So currently at the minute, there's a campaign called Dear Sickle Cell that I partnershiped with the NHS Blood and Transplant, where it's a campaign where sickle cell warriors, they are addressing sickle cell as if it was a person, and in a spoken letter word form or poem form. And for me, the reason why I've done a campaign like that is because so many people, and thank you by the way, the people that did, you know, get involved. It's a lot to ask people to be vulnerable in front of the camera, to ask sickle cell or to address sickle cell in their most vulnerable form, you know. And the people that are involved, they really showed their vulnerable side. They really spoke to sickle cell as if it was a person. And the reason behind that was because people who took part, they also need regular blood donations also as well. It's to highlight the messaging that, dear sickle cell, I'm going through this, but at the same time, I also need a blood transfusion. I also need exchanges, you know, and that's not for everyone. That's just for some of them. I do have plans in the future. There's a lot of stuff that I can't reveal now, because there's so much in the works that's going on. But when it comes to any sort of support and signposting, when it comes to PIP, when it comes to mentoring, that's what I'm doing behind the scenes, and also going into schools, also speaking about blood donations as well. So I've been going into schools recently, and we've been doing workshops on schools with sickle cell blood donation.
I think that's amazing, especially the stuff that you are doing with you know, the African kids in West Africa. I think that's amazing. It's a lot that you have to deal with all of this and still have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So my last question, because I know you've been here for a while now, what advice would you give to a parent who has recently just gotten the diagnosis for their child of sickle cell? Like, what advice would you give to such parents? How to sort of deal with it? Deal with it is not the right word to use, but how to approach a new diagnosis of sickle cell?
It's a difficult one because I've had a few parents, come on to my Instagram live and, share their experience with their child being diagnosed with sickle cell, especially it being so complex and not knowing what it is. But there's a few things that I would say to anyone and any parent. The first thing is, do your research and don't listen to, don't always just take on board what the healthcare practitioner is saying to you. I think you've got to do your own research and do what's best for you and your child, and also monitor what your child goes through and keep a diary of what happens with you and your child. And another thing is to seek counselling and seek therapists, or seek a therapist, talk to somebody about it, because it's something new. It's something new that you're going to go through, and you're going to have all these questions that that's going to wander through your mind. But definitely speak to someone, and that's some of the services that I actually want to create through my platform, is having a support service for, children and parents who are being diagnosed with sickle cell, and having the right accessible information to them also as well. And don't be afraid to reach out, and don't be afraid to ask questions, because having sickle cell, again, there's so many deliberating challenges with sickle cell, and being a parent, all you're going to think of is all the symptoms that come with sickle cell, especially if you're not aware of this condition. So definitely speak to someone, reach out to people, but also seek advice as well, and don't be afraid to reach out.
Thank you for coming to join us today.
Thank you for
Chanel,
having me.
to be honest with you, I for one, I've learned quite a lot, and I am hoping that the guys behind the camera have learned a thing or two, and they will be donating blood this week. They will be looking into donating some blood. And that will be all for this episode, guys. Remember, it doesn't cost you anything to be good, and whatever you do today, make sure you give some blood. Thank you. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.